Welcome to live chat. What the hell? I just got a notification when I signed in. Welcome to live chat. Learn more. Okay. Anyways. So, the last time I drew an actual portrait of anything was probably back in high school. But really, I hadn't done much since middle school when I had first moved from Houston and was trying to get into the talented art program. And they wanted a bunch of my artwork to review, to see how talented I was or whatever. And sure enough, I brought them just all kinds of stuff. And from paintings to a couple things I had won a little award or two for when I was in like elementary school and shit, nothing major. They had wanted to keep all this stuff in this folder so they could make their determination or whatever. And I got into the talented art program and everything. And they lost it. All of it. Every last bit of artwork that I had done, basically from birth. All the way up to 7th grade. Paintings, pastels, lots and lots of different stuff. But I don't think I ever did a self-portrait, really. I would draw girls. I've done a couple self-portraits. I just never really took one seriously because, how interested am I in looking at me? All kind of hot chicks everywhere, it's fucking middle school. So, yeah, eventually just kind of stuck more and more to engineering type stuff. This just forehead isn't nearly big enough, is it? I need like a lot less hair here. There we go. Fucking looking like the Latin version of myself with like fucking 17-year-old hairline. Although my hairline wasn't even that good when I was 17. Anyways, I'm not like looking at a picture of myself or anything. I'm just drawing this freehand. Oh, still nobody joining, huh? Interesting. Very interesting. Nope, even my devil's cleft isn't that far forward, huh? There we go. Is the forehead big enough? I don't know. Gotta have my little dot in the middle. Kidding, really kidding. Okay. Kidding, that's kind of need to do that. Kidding. Well, let's see. Look anything like me? Not really. I tried. Need a lot more whiskers. Well, I need a lot more whiskers. Anyways. Now I need like 10 times more forehead, basically. Yeah. See, can I get in the right angle for that to... Nope, I'm just too old. I'm old. I think I prefer younger Latino version of me. Yeah. Like I'm wearing freaking eyeliner or something. I don't know. And like, I think my head's gotten fatter over the years. Like, how'd my head get fat? Like, the rest of me's still pretty damn skinny. But then again, back when I was young, I didn't have that kind of a beard. But anyways, I was not really even focusing on this lifetime. I was just trying to average out how I normally look. And I was really just fucking around until it started to actually kind of look like something worth a fuck. So I thought I might share. Oh well, anyways. And now there's a kitten on my lap. And once again, as expected, all it takes is a keyword regarding the particular topics that YouTube, on Russia's behalf, doesn't like me discussing. Including especially the fact that I am the Resistance founder. And whether or not you know I'm the Resistance founder is the determining factor of whether or not you're actually in the Resistance or just in a little chicken coop. Just in a little slaughter bin, just in a little hen house that's been set up for you. Because on Twitter, a fake resistance movement came out, and I'm not doubting it, but the truth is the truth. The truth is, it was a half-hearted attempt to silence the real resistance movement by making it about something more PC, by making it about something like immigrants. You see, Donald Trump is just a small part of what the real resistance movements would otherwise be about. It's about resisting a foreign fucking invasion, an attack on our, not democracy, on our country. The very idea that we think things were limited to attacks on Hillary Clinton and releases of her emails. It's as if Pearl Harbor happened and we thought there was a shipping accident. I repeat, the nation is suffering from such psychosis right now. It is as if Pearl fucking Harbor happened and we thought a boat crashed. That's the difference between the real resistance movement and this idea that we have to resist Trump's immigration policies. I agree that we have to resist Trump's immigration policies. I agree that all these people should be in the resistance. But the hashtag resistance was set up by me to educate people about the foreign fucking influence that was going to be exerted on this administration. This is about a genuine resistance movement. It's not resistance to Trump. Trump just happens to be the foreign puppet. And if you don't recognize him as a foreign puppet, it's because you've been caught up in foreign propaganda. You've been made to fathom the nimbuses. But the real issue, as I have been exclusively at the forefront of pointing out, the real issue is things like the NRA doing Russia's fucking bidding. Okay? When you think about the World Trade Organization, when you think about bin Laden, okay, we were told bin Laden did it because of basically the Israeli-Palestinian conflict. Just cause effect that and see if it actually makes sense. Really, that's all you got to do. Okay. What did the World Trade Organization have to do with our policies towards Israel? Anybody? Oh wait, there's nobody watching because I put hashtag resistance in the... Yeah, oh yeah, forgot. Nobody's allowed to watch my broadcast because Russia's winning because people are ignorant. Because nobody's allowed to watch my broadcast. It's like catch 42. Well, the answer is nada. There is absolutely no reason whatsoever other than a symbol of America. Really that vague. Okay. So, granted, World Trade Towers, big landmark, big symbol of America. But as far as what the World Trade Court actually was, what the World Trade Organization actually represented, let's think of some competing institutions. Not anti-Semitic paranoia. Okay? Because essentially, by making it about Israel, we made it about Israel. And for other people to make it and blame it on Israel in the coordination that they did. Could lead one to believe that it was perpetrated by anti-Semites. Okay, so there you have a large group of possible candidates. You have right-wing Christians, you have Islamofascists, and you have just Putinite Russians. Putinite, 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 Putinite. Sounds like Eddie Murphy making the Rasta music. Never mind. That wasn't Eddie Murphy. Who did the goodness gracious I love Jamaica thing? Whatever. Anyways. So, if it's not about Israel, as far as the Palestinian conflict, and because they're so mad about it, this is how they're going to take out their frustrations. You would think, if they wanted to go through all that trouble, they would fucking attack Israel. But they attacked the World Trade Organization. Okay? And a section of the Pentagon that had been mostly vacated for construction. And I'm sorry, I don't let people change their stories after the fact. I remember that was what was reported on 9/11. Okay? I now, know people who were there, and I understand that, it wasn't completely vacated, but the damage could have been a lot worse as far as loss of life goes. Anyways. It may be the case, let me just second guess myself, it may be the case that they were that ready with the fake news, and in fact, if the FBI would like to, since I know I've got somebody's attention right now, if the FBI would like to find one key that would trace Russian propaganda, if I'm mistaken about the Pentagon being vacated for renovations, that entire section of it, then whoever said that day was ready with it. And whoever said that day, I think it was CBS News, it was one of the main broadcasts. It wasn't on the internet, okay? I was typing stuff. I wasn't looking on the internet for shit that just happened. When shit just happens, I want fucking network broadcast coverage of it. I want to see the live shit. And this is before Janet Jackson's Tick came out, so, we still had live shit. And this old cigarette. I'm just gonna fold one. But anyways, that would be a good key to investigating that. Trying to find out who said that and why. If it's not true. As far as I know, it's true. But both things can be true, because it wasn't like, hundreds of people lost their lives at the Pentagon. It was, I think, I don't want to actually quote the number because I don't remember it. But it was not multiple hundreds. Okay? More people died in the plane, I believe. Even though I don't believe it went down there. Anyways. let's see here. Back to the World Trade Organization, right? So, who are, just generally speaking, some enemies of the World Trade Organization that we can think of, okay? Because, you know, you don't want to get told something in an investigation. You know? Bobby gets murdered. Timmy says he saw it happen. Okay? And he says Tony did it. But Bobby's got a lot of enemies. And maybe some of those enemies are also enemies with Tony. Maybe they want you to think Tony did it. Okay? And all they would have to do is pay off Timmy. And have him standing right there saying, Tony did it. So we got told Tony did it. We got told Bin Laden did it. But we never thought, was somebody paying Timmy? You see, in order for me to properly sift through what is Russian propaganda, what is conspiracy fakery, and what is actual discrepancy, I would need to have an actual conversation with someone in the FBI who was part of the original 9/11 investigation. Because there are different details which I have absorbed as likely fact. And then there are the things that I saw because I was glued to 2 different fucking TVs on 9/11 and making notes. Because I knew something was wrong. Just as soon as it started happening, I'm just like, this isn't right. You know, like the Cold War's supposed to be over. Russia's the only people who could fucking do this. Who else could fucking do this? This isn't right. Bin Laden? Okay, Bin Laden. Terrorism. Yeah, okay, terrorism. Something still ain't right. Now, Israelis. Let's rule them out first. Because anti-Semites are just the most annoying fucking people there are. World Trade Organization. Israelis. Excuse me. Let me say it so it doesn't, so it sounds even more like I'm like speaking in synonyms. World Trade Court. Jews. Really? You think these two things are antithetical? If the Israelis blew up the World Trade Court, how would they sue anyone? It's funny because it's true, okay? So they're out, okay? I don't care whether you thought you saw Muslims or Jews or whoever the fuck in New Jersey celebrating on 9/11. Whoever you saw, it wasn't the Jews. There's a lot of Russians in that particular neighborhood in New Jersey, though. In fact, in that same neighborhood, between Election Day and inauguration, You could drive around that area in Jersey and find Russian flags hanging in the windows. Oh, they were proud of what they accomplished. And I'm sure they all got a laugh about rednecks believing Trump when he said that it was Muslims celebrating. Because, shit, when at first your propaganda is meant to frame the Jews, and then you can go 20 years later and frame the fucking Muslims for the same thing. Man, you're good bullshitters. You deserve some fucking vodka. You can pat yourself on the back for that, you know? Well, that's how they be. That's their values. You see, that's what values are. It's what you value. That's what they value. They value advantage, leverage, bullshit. It's what happens when an inferiority complex becomes a system of government. Kitten, I need to like move. My foot's falling asleep. Ah, okay. Look at this cat. No fucks given. So, let's talk about. Let's go in order of scapegoathood. Okay? That is, how often people like to blame. Yeah. How often people get blamed for everything, right? Now, what's interesting about Alex Jones conspiracy, Alex Jonesian, you know, fuck it, he put in the work. He deserves to have it named for him. Ludicrous bullshit that it is. It's his baby, isn't it? I mean, Putin must be proud. One of the reasons why I didn't think people would actually buy into Alex Jones's bullshit is because of how obviously self-contradictory he is. And I mean this not in any sort of nuance or semantic way. What I mean by this is that when you take into effect all of his contradictions and balance them as an equation, they equal to him being an agent of Islam. Now, I know there's some morons who like to accuse me of that. But let's just review the evidence, shall we? Now, just because it's become more of a scapegoat these days, let me just go through China right quick. China versus the World Trade Organization. Yes, they had reasons to beef with the World Trade Organization, but actually, um, that didn't develop in a way that would negatively impact China until much later. At the point of the first attempted attack on the Trade Center during 92, um, and still by 2001, China was using the World Trade Organization to its advantage. Okay? Now, scapegoat number 3, Muslims. You would think it would be scapegoat number 2, wouldn't you? Because after all, I'm the multicolored Jew or whatever. And me and Hillary are in cahoots to help the Muslims take over. Yeah. It's a perfect time to have to fart. But I really gotta try to not let that out. If I mute the camera for a second, you know why. And, you know, if there's an earthquake, there, you also know why. Anyways, so no time for fart jokes. It's supposed to be serious. We're talking about... Oh. Okay. Hold on. Oh, man, that wasn't even worth hitting mute for. It's like a queef. Kidding. No. It sounded like the word quiff. Oh. Okay. Apparently it's just, it's going to be a war of attrition. SBD. Okay. Anyways. Boy, what the hell is wrong with my stomach? I feel like I've been fucking having Taco Bell. Anyways. Oh. That is not my cooking. Oh, okay. I think I'm still recovering from the neighbor's incredibly delicious baked beans the other day. It's making it out in stages. All right, this has gone on too long. Anyways, all right, I'm gonna try not to get distracted by what's on the screen right there, because it's just reminding me a bit of the bullshit that is going on nowadays. And you know, while you've heard like the Russians interfering with the election and right-wing propaganda, 9/11 conspiracy, and even as detailed as the Russians being involved in the NRA, I was able to trace by rhetorical synergy. Okay, and synergy is a great keyword that Mueller came out with. And all the other different things that he's been hinting to, you know, being on my page. It's rather nice, actually. But let's just see. the thing about Muslims, as far as 9/11 conspiracy goes, you know, Bin Laden obviously wanted to attract the Trade Center towers. He's on fucking video talking about it. All right, those videos weren't doctored. Some old videos, first of all. And in the early 2000s, the ability to detect fake video manually through manual review was still sufficient, you know? Now it's finally getting harder. But anyways, Alex Jones, basically, when it all comes down to it, until Obama came around, made you think the Muslims had nothing to do with 9/11. Isn't that interesting? I'm not making a claim here. This is the material that's there. Or has he deleted everything from before the Obama years? Isn't that fascinating, though? From 9/11 all the way until Obama became president, 6 years, 7 years, this guy was basically sounding identically to Islamo-fascist propaganda. And it was the left who rallied around him. It was just geeks and Trekkies and X-Files people and internet nerds, you know? People who like to think way too much about things. Little Johnny Fives wanting input. And he was all over the place just waiting to tell us the real truth. Interesting place for a measles scar, isn't it? I've seen that before. The older I get, the more that fucking thing just forms a little triangle, huh? I hate that shit. Ugh. Not carved, not altered in any way. It's just a stick. Stop having crazy thoughts. Not carved, not altered in any way. It's just a forehead. Stop having crazy thoughts. Anyways. You know, about the right hand. Trying to find it with my eyes is a mistake. If I try to find it with the pain, it's right there in the wrist. Or where that little pyramid is. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Yeah, that's. Mm. Turning the Frogs, yay. Okay, yeah. Alex Jones, okay. Just think about all the different orb and fake plane and NASA. Oh, had to be NASA planes, right? I agreed it did. I mean, fucking planes didn't look like they had any damn windows on them. Very well could have been. Especially when you consider. I'll try to get back to what I was just talking about. But it just occurred to me. Brand new. Brand new thing. Okay, pay attention. Anybody who's kind of drifting. The planes. I think I did see credibly sourced documentation that NASA was experimenting with remotely piloted Boeing passenger jets, converted passenger jets. And that was through conjecture attributed to explain the lady who said that was not an American Airlines jet, okay? And also correlated by the videos which showed nothing resembling a civilian airliner, okay? I mean, it's debatable whether they were real planes, okay? Like, I get that. Could be some sort of modified cruise missile or um, carrier based. Yeah, carrier based on a Russian carrier. You could mount just a couple fixed wing, very large aircraft and have droppable rockets assist the launch. And that's just the kind of crazy shit Russians would be able to do. But even if they didn't launch the planes, even if those weren't just modified cruise missiles, I don't necessarily believe in any kind of. I'd believe in CGI video manipulation long before I'd believe in fucking holographic projection. Okay. It could have been demons. It could have been Gabriel. Gabriel was still their slave at that point. That Archangel UFO New Orleans video where I show the orb shapeshifting into the plane. Does that plane not look like the one that crashed into the buildings? But a much more plausible theory, the one that just occurred to me. I've mentioned those before. When you take into effect that the results of the investigation and parts of the investigation itself were classified, may have been classified, pretty obviously were classified. it makes sense that this technology of remotely operating aircraft and the details of its test and development status would be classified and remain classified because of the obvious insinuations that were being made, you know? However, what would further necessitate it remaining a secret is also the very thing that would have allowed this to happen if that was compromised. Okay? The number one thing we have a mandate as far as not telling the public goes is how we collect information and the limitations of our capability in that regard. Okay? You don't want people to know what you can do. You don't want people to know what you can't do. And one of the limitations in that regard is whether or not your information gets stolen. We do not have any reason to tell the American public how capable Russia is, or anybody is, of compromising a classified system. Okay, so if you're talking about the personnel computers at the Pentagon, you know, you're going to hear about that. But say, just put it into conspiracy theory format. Let's put it into X-Files format. If the Russians hacked a server at Area 51, do you think you would know about it? No. No. Of course not. So if the Russians were able to, or the Chinese, or if anybody was able to hack into a semi-classified program whose current testing status was in fact classified on a need-to-know basis, remote operation of major airlines, that's very consistent with the type of technologies we were attempting at the time, very consistent with the evolution of autopilot, very consistent with the evolution of, you know, what later would go into the processing of self-driving cars. And there is, of course, the consistency of the pattern that I stated previously of Tesla's automated collision sensing being a result of advanced aeronautical programming. And, you know, that would have been another good reason for the Russians to be interested in hacking this particular system, because what better way to get a whole bunch of code that they could change to fucking operate everything from fighter planes to missiles to interceptors to surface to air. You know, this is a fucking gold mine you're talking about here. Not only the ability to take control of these robotic American planes, if they existed, okay? I think they did exist. It's consistent with the tech of the time. It's consistent with what the kind of shit NASA was doing at the time. It made perfect sense. I saw the source documents, the sourced information from NASA.gov fucking webpage that was linked. And it was all, you know, done in illustrations, and this is what we want to do, but if they started doing it, they wouldn't fucking tell anybody. You know what I'm saying? But if Russia knew they were doing about it, they'd want to have it. Not only could they crash those planes if they wanted to, but it's just an informational gold mine to have that much programming, to have that much coding, to have that much work done, all in one computer system, waiting to be taken. Because, well, it's got a fucking transceiver on that system. You know, on the navigational system. The navigational system has to communicate because of how they're doing it. So it's not like you have a separate navigational computer that doesn't communicate. Right? So, gold mine. With one of them little carts with like a battery with like full charge and like an electric motor and like air conditioning and some hookers just sitting there. Let's go get some gold. You can pay my leprechaun pimp later or something. It's a fucking gold mine. So then, you know, they wouldn't need to have rockets on a fucking carrier and be able to be traced. That would be stupid. They would just wait for a day that NASA could schedule a test flight on the same day of an very honorary anti-terror exercise. Oh yeah, I have no doubt in their ability to plan, because we're talking about Russians here, not just random, like, jihadis, okay? To plan around government exercises when they intend to blame the government for it. That's a no-brainer. Would the Russians have a conspiracy set up to blame a government and then make that thing happen on a day where there wasn't a government exercise? Why? No, let's just wait till Tuesday or whatever. They're doing this. It'll be perfect. Do you think that they would refrain from making that obvious, advantageous choice? You understand. We're morons. They're not. You know? They're good. They're professionals. They've been doing this. They've been thinking on this level for a lot longer than we've even knew how to, okay? Or that thinking on this level even existed. You understand how naive America is? Naive, son. I mean, the most wisdom we ever shown was in like these cheesy real documentaries, information things, I don't know what the hell they even call them, that the CIA made back in the 50s. That's the best we've done. How to spot a communist, you know, like. But at least in that one, they tell you what the fuck a babushka lady is. Too bad all the Kennedy assassination conspiracy theorists never watched it, apparently. And they also don't know what speaking Russian means. It generally means that you're working with Russians. Just saying, you know, like if I was to speak Spanish in Houston, like, or on the border of fucking Mexico, you would think that I worked with fucking Mexicans. And you'd be correct. Because I was the only white guy on my crew. I got to the point where I was trying to think in Spanish, you know? Can't do it anymore. That was all before the head injury. Before I got stomped on by that fucking linebacker looking bastard. Oh, back when my only head injuries were skateboard and nunchuck related. But anyways. So, if the planes aren't real, if it was cruise missiles, then rather than a holographic projective technology, I propose that it was in fact the Archangel Gabriel having been enslaved by Mars because of his love for her mother, its mother, his mother, Shim's mother. Did I mention he's a hermaphrodite? Okay. Hashtag Zeus joke. I'm too much for myself sometimes. Sorry. It's like I'm cringing from within. Oh, good. Got that out of me. But anyways, so because I don't see any precursoral technology available to humans, and believe me, I would recognize it. I would just have a sense about it. It's how I've learned everything I know about current technology. Anyways, but any really advanced Star Trek fan, basically, could look at the technology that we developed throughout the 1990s, and even with the 10-year rule of declassification, what we know now, okay, still, we do not really have any of the precursor technology available to us to have a cruise missile project a three-dimensional holographic image that could be picked up by both human eyes and a video camera, multiple video cameras, okay? I could see how current technology could be applied to either some humans or some video cameras and be effective in that way. But I don't really know how to get it that consistent at that speed that the object was traveling, okay? Because you would need to, and this is why it's going to wind up at a certain frequency, rely on a sort of a molecular plasma, like a cool ionized charge gas would have to be surrounding the object, and I don't know how you'd get it as far out as the wings anyways, especially not at that speed. Like, so if it was just a tube and you wanted to make the tube look bigger, you could make the tube look bigger, right? But boy, the power requirements and the effort just to have it smashed into, oh man, jeez. You're talking about something about 10 times more complicated and costly to create than a particle accelerator, okay? That's with things that humans have today that I don't think they've really considered it applying this way. Certainly not 20 fucking years ago. And like I said, because you would have to use a consistent ionized mist, you still wouldn't be able to create wings. Nothing away from the fuselage at all. But because it was an ionized mist, it would only be able to emit a specific uh, frequency or refresh rate, if you will, and only, you know, nope. There's no ion that could do it slow enough for like lower IQ humans to even see it. So some video cameras and not many humans. And that's it. So that's ruled out, basically. Okay. So as preposterous as preposterous as it sounds, that Gabriel the fucking archangel guided one and then guided the other, if they were cruise missiles, that's a little more likely. Especially when you consider that we're dealing with possible Russian horde involvement, not just Russia, but horde involvement. And in the city of Astana, Kazakhstan, you have what appears to be an Olmec shrine with Gabriel as its mouth. That is the three orbs that are pictured on. Did you really fucking log off before you heard my case? God, you fucking infantile little fucking worms. No wonder you're so fucking clueless. Oh God, there's information that I didn't previously think, so I'm gonna tune it out now. Only you've been completely fucking clueless about everything and I've been right about everything. So it might be fucking wise for you to listen up. I hate it right when I get to the fucking point of something. Yeah, fucking log off. There's only one person fucking watching to begin with. That's fucking annoying. I have Gabriel on video. You can watch the video all you fucking want. You will never explain why an unedited video has a silent plane making bird noises and train noises. Okay? But if you look at the video, it's not a fucking plane. It's a spherical orb that then grows two more spherical orbs that then flash and kind of morph as it gets closer and closer from the rooftop across the street where it was directly above, and then turns into a fucking plane. Okay? I'm not the only one who's filmed that UFO in New Orleans. There are people who have filmed it panning left and right and doing all kinds of crazy shit that is not possible for planes to do. So basically, your ignorance is based on a lack of the preponderance of data. My understanding is based on having absorbed the preponderance of data. Because most people who don't fucking watch this channel don't even know what the city of Astana, Kazakhstan even is. And I suppose if you weren't UFO hunting in 2011, you don't know that this Gabriel Archangel UFO that I have has been filled by multiple ufologists and was even featured on a documentary on some network. I think it was History or Discovery Channel, UFO hunters kind of network thing, right? And they had the fucking same exact UFO panning and scanning. Like it was just going, it was strafing side to side. It was doing all kinds of cool shit. And that was not far from where I used to live. So, despite all that, even though I have the evidence, and that is what, you know, I would think the mystically drawn conclusion would be. I still think it's much more logical that Russia hacked into the technology of remote planes. I think it's much more likely that we are mistaking video artifacting on the digital copies that we have of what in only a couple of cases, I think, were film format recordings. A lot of those cameras that took it were some of the earlier digital cameras. But I think we're mistaking that for holographic or artifactual type energy. I think those were fucking planes that hit the buildings. I didn't see windows on them. If it was NASA planes, there would be no way to keep a conspiracy in NASA secret unless something got fucked up really bad and they had a reason not to tell anyone. NASA basically fell from grace and became nothing but a CGI propaganda tool after that. But the most logical thing that would necessitate them keeping it a secret, even from Robert Mueller while he was investigating in the FBI, they could have kept it a secret from them because, whoa, they fucked up, you know? I mean, if that's what happened, then they really fucked up. Now, it took a long time for bin Laden to take credit. He said it was probably some American group and all kinds of different weird shit after 9/11. But, you know, that doesn't mean he didn't do it. But if you think bin Laden wasn't aware of the Alex Jonesian conspiracies of the time, I think you've basically underestimated him because you're racist and you think that because he's brown and lives in fucking whatever, he's supposed to be like on a donkey and like in caves and shit, right? No, he was like downloading porn and all kinds of crap. He was a modern man. And do you think he was going to stop anyone from saying it was the Muslim? I mean, from saying it was the Bush administration and the Jews behind 9/11? Well, that's what Alex Jones was saying. So essentially, Alex Jones and Osama bin Laden were working together and putting out a unified message. Unified by the Russian Federation, the GRU. Ain't that a bitch? My wrist hurts. So, are there even any other candidates? You know, could the Muslims have done it by themselves? Could the Islamic extremists have done it by themselves? Um, yeah. Forgive me, I am not a white nationalist or Islamophobic in any way. Um, I am a reincarnated crusader. And There didn't used to be anything good about Muslims. They were literally just murdering zombies. It's not until recently that they were even called Muslims. So I don't know what to do with the word. I really don't. We used to just call them mongrels. I don't know. They were um, either inbred, freakish looking things or the results of those kidnapping and breeding with them and then coming back in greater numbers. And it happened over and over and over again for about 1,000 years straight. And then around 1200 AD, that's when the first Qurans were circulated and tried to consolidate this thing into something controllable that we now know as Islam. But before that, it was just a horde of slaves and the inbred results of being slaves. And it was akin to watching a zombie movie. Anyways. So this channel is the first place where the connection between the NRA and Russia was called out. And first place where Maria Butina was called out for exactly what she was doing right when she did it. And it's also the first place where hashtag resistance was started. It's also the first place where All Lives Matter came from. I didn't mention All Lives Matter again for a while because then it became the thin blue line, and that was pretty. And I wanted to go pinstripe fucking cars and shit. Anyways. Started thinking, why don't I fucking just go and buy a damn thing of touch-up paint and wash my car and just put that fucking pinstripe right on there. See how long it lasts. Would have came in handy today when I was driving through town with no inspection sticker. And there was this fucking 18-wheeler with logs. Just wood hanging 20 feet out the back of the motherfucking thing. And I didn't feel like running out of gas being stuck behind it because I'm just trying to go get gas. And I'm like I'm so far on empty, the shit's almost back the other way up to full again. Okay, like it was below that red line. You know, it's just like you know, it needed Viagra. I mean, like it just. I could have started sputtering at any time, you know, like an old man who needed Viagra. I mean, well, it's a 35. Okay, I'm doing 38, gaining considerably on him. I up to 42, pushing 45 in the 35. And this fucking truck starts speeding up. They're going around a bend. There's already a truck in front of him fucking like slowly turning right where I gotta turn right. I was just trying to get up in front of him and then just fucking time it to where he wouldn't even really have to fucking slow down. And this motherfucker wants to pace me while I'm trying to get in front of him. And his goddamn giant 18-wheeler with fucking, you know, half a forest in the back. And no, I'm not hating on the lumber industry. I think lumber is, you know, designed for that purpose. You're welcome. I mean, what a lucky place it is you live in, where building materials just spring up out of the ground. Anyways. Okay, I have to watch a spacewalking cosmonaut take a knife to something, to the Soyuz capsule. Why do they have a fucking NASA logo up there? Doesn't even look like a real NASA logo. It's the Soyuz. There's Russian writing everywhere, and you got NASA up there. NASA has nothing to do with this. Alright. So let's go ahead and do a little debunk of this bullshit. What I notice here is that the debris is all flying at a consistent pace. And that pace is never consistent with the kinetic energy produced by his hand. And you've got this little piece that spins up over here. And you've got small pieces that go really fast. But you never have any large pieces. You got that one, and it kind of looked at artifacty as a fuck. But you'll notice later that he's moving his hand quickly and pieces fly out slowly. So it's just not consistent, is all. A piece of space debris. Let's see the space debris, come on. Oh, that's right, you can't back it up and analyze anything anymore, because as soon as I started doing that on videos, YouTube changed the fucking format. I'm just trying to determine whether or not this is a CGI enhanced video or done in an atmospheric freefall pod. I know there's a NASA logo up there when this has nothing to do with NASA. I mean, does that look like NASA to you? Why don't you zoom out and show me the Earth? What's with the fucking white background? You know? Where do you gotta go that there's just a white background? Looks like there's an ambient source of lighting down and to the right. I don't know. What exactly was he supposed to be doing, you know? Just gratuitous manliness, I suppose. I don't know. Whoever hit the like, thank for the like. I don't see anyone here. It still says 0 people watching. If you're here, say hello. I'm still getting the welcome to live chat. Remember to guard your privacy and abide our community guidelines. As if I had never live streamed before. Anybody here? Of course, if you can't fucking chat, oh. If you're here and you can't chat, undo your like. And then, you know, like redo it again after I say I saw you. Yeah, that'll be the new universal way to communicate. Undo your like, count about 30 seconds, and then redo it, and then undo it. 30 seconds apart, giving it time to register. Maybe I'll see it go on and off, and I'll know if somebody's trying to chat but unable to. And of course, to my little silent spy monitor, if you want to just let me know that you actually do believe in me and you wish there was something you could do, I can always bend reality for you if you show me a little bit of faith. Because that's all it takes for me. Oh look, there's an actual viewer here. Hello, actual viewer. Is the chat working? It's giving me a weird message. Melania dyed her hair blonde? Wow. That's just weird. Let's see, chats. Any chats? Neville, what's up, mate? It's still selling this. Alright, I'm going to click learn more just to make this stop showing up. Oh, now it faded. Learn more. Learn more. I don't want to learn more, but you're making me learn more. It's not doing anything. Oh well, fuck it. So, just to recap for you, Neville. I was going through possibilities. Basically, the Israelis and the World Trade Organization aren't entirely different things. So why would they, you know, why would Jews blow up a court? You know, like, just, how would they sue anyone? You know, like, couldn't have been the Israeli. Chinese were, at the time, using the World Trade Court to kind of manipulate the system. They were gaining tremendous advantage. Okay? That rules them out. And then basically talking about, could the Muslims have done it by themselves? And talking about how Alex Jones was basically on the same page as Osama bin Laden when it came to the propaganda that they were both putting out. And, you know, including bin Laden, we imagined him as someone who wasn't on the internet, but it turns out he was, so he would have known what Alex Jones was doing when he released the video in which he said it was probably some American group. So there we go, getting bullshitted by a criminal. But the fact of the matter is, it wasn't until the Obama administration that Alex Jones ever indicated that Muslims could do anything bad ever. Basically, Alex Jones spent 7.5 years taking the blame off of Al-Qaeda and trying to put it on the United States government. Now, I also went through how the different possibilities of the plane, couldn't have been a hologram. There's a small possibility that it was cruise missiles or planes launched from carriers or something like that, and that because Mars had enslaved the Archangel Gabriel, the UFO video that I have that many different people filmed in New Orleans, like doing all kinds of different shit that a plane cannot do. I mean, really, a plane cannot do these things. Like panning side to side, for instance. No, plane can't do that. But I saw that 3-orb UFO turn into a plane. And, before I figured out that he wanted my help. I mean, it's a bit of a stretch from the first impression of being freaked out by this weird fucking thing you're seeing in the sky. To like, can I help you? Thank you, drive through. Anyways, but the most likely possibility would be an experimental aircraft program by NASA that had been proven to hypothetically exist, or at least be one of NASA's dreams or possible projects, but the ongoing experimentation of which, the test results, the test status, the development status, or whatever, was completely classified. If someone were to, say, hack into that system, their country would not only have to have been extremely opposed to the World Trade Organization, but they would have then gained the biggest gold mine in aeronautical programming. And they would have had a wave of extreme advancement, and maybe in a couple years been able to, say, increase their military budget. And they could fly those planes wherever the hell they wanted to. These experimental remote-operated NASA planes. They were probably going to be used by NASA to do stress tests and shit that, you wouldn't want a pilot involved in. Okay? Because, NASA's still trying to actually get into space. Or they were at that point. Now as far as I'm concerned, they're just like the closest thing the Americans have to a propaganda ministry. Used to be bait for spies, but now it's just like a cartoon, basically. So anyways, just so you can see the updated image, I didn't have the fucking forehead nearly big enough. Or maybe if I just come at it from this way. There we go. That kind of looks like me. All right. There we go. There we go. Okay. Anyways, that's the first fucking image of a face I've drawn for a long time, and I was just doing like a blind self-portrait. And, I've never been very good with pencil. But, like, you know, I can't convince myself that I entirely suck because of shit like this, right? I did that without a straight edge of any kind. That's just freehand fucking. Good looking little quaint house there. I can see I kind of screwed up the perspective lines, but I'm sitting there with a bent notebook on my lap, you know. But anyways, I'm drawing a whole series of houses to take to this real estate guy who used to be a stockbroker. So, the plan is to get him to sign a non-disclosure agreement and then get the fucking ball rolling. So, I heard there was a bit of a housing slump there in Australia. Is that affecting your area, Neville? Let's see, is the learn more thing coming up? Welcome to live chat. Remember to guard your privacy and abide by community guidelines. Oh, it's finally gone, is it? Did I look at it enough times? Oh, no, it came back up. Fucking piece of shit. Go away. Just go away. Nobody likes you. Anyways. Everywhere? Damn. Do you understand what's causing it? I didn't really have time to get into the reports. I just saw the headline. But, one might say that Australian housing, especially New Zealand housing, but Australian housing to a lesser extent, has been overvalued for a long time. And could be due for a correction. So if that's correct, then if that's true, then one would assume that this would bottom out and eventually rebound into a more neutral and diverse sort of pricing system. But hopefully we can keep track of this well enough to figure out when you're going to make your move. But now is the time, since the prices are going down, right? That you want to start trying to find who the most reliable real estate listing website is, who's the most trustworthy local agent, or if you have any friends that are real estate agents, you want to start talking to them about cheap land that's been flooded. And I don't know if I'm going to fly out there personally because I don't like flying anymore. But I'm gonna put you in charge of a big fucking project that you can do full time or part time if you want to keep your current job. Um, but we're gonna need a good, well-connected real estate person out there and a good construction crew. And the rest will be up to you to delegate. And in fact, I think that's what I'll design tonight. I think I will design a multi-use building that can be apartments or offices or retail. Yeah. And I'm gonna design it for a fucking I don't know what, 8 feet of water? Let's say 8 feet of water. How deep does the flooding get when y'all have those hard, stagnant rains? Because I already see how much it moves. You know, like I see how much the water moves, and I definitely have that accounted for. But I'm not familiar with how deep it gets out there. Around here, it can get pretty fucking deep. But the land, the way the land is formed here is just entirely different. We're on the, like the Appalachian steppe. And we got the just never-ending swamp around here, and then places where people done fucked that up. 3 meters. Okay. So we'll do 12 feet. What I'll do is I'll make it to where it sits 8 feet high. And can float an additional 4 feet without being dislodged. So it could go up the extra foot, no problem. Yeah, 9 meters is short of 9 feet anyways. But keeping everything to 8-foot sections is obviously ideal for reducing construction and on-site management costs. So not just simplifying the deployment of materials themselves, but simplifying how well a foreman can follow a plan. If it's all 8-foot fucking sections and everything's pretty much geometric, it's a no-brainer, and you don't have to have a really high-paid guy on site every fucking job, right? That makes sense? My business model is designed to compete with robots. I want to keep people working. Like So we're going to have advanced projects, we're going to have luxury projects, that's going to require the higher paid foreman. And we're going to have high paid carpenters doing finishing work and shit like that. But we're going to be able to hire just plain laborers and train them ourselves, because we're going to have basically, after the first couple of buildings are made, we're going to set up a 70-foot by 70-foot pyramidal dome where walls and floors and roof sections will be constructed ahead of time, built to order, basically. It's all much more economical and convenient than that, but, classified. But anyways, we'll be able to start somebody building the same fucking thing over and over again, basically. Building small sections at a time, like an assembly line type process. And then either somebody, an out-of-work carpenter with a lot of fucking experience, or, no drinking problem. We might have come in there, prove their shit, and then put them out in the field. Otherwise, we could train our own fucking carpenters and then put them out in the field once they meet a certain quality and punctuality and manners standard. So we'll be able to employ fucking ex-cons and people who otherwise wouldn't be able to fucking get a job, and we'll have something they can fucking do, and they can work their way back up in society in this one fucking company. I think that'd be cool. But a lot of this it just has to do with, and a lot of my business plans in general, the different businesses I want to get into, all relate to not being so damn wasteful anymore. And I don't mean just materials, but like potential and lives and art and photo albums and poems and old letters, and that's truly valuable stuff. And if I can save just one family's old photo albums, this is worth doing. And to think that we might, Neville, to think that we might be honored enough to save 1 million one day. One day before we die, we might have saved 1 million old love letters from how two people's grandparents met. 1 million old baby pictures from back when photos were like black and white and like reddish and shit, I hate to be too non-corporeal about this. And this is going to sound really off to anyone who isn't very deep, okay? But a life is easier to replace than such things. History of self and of identity and of family. These are things that can cause your soul to attach itself to the people that you loved, and you can be reborn again among them because of this. They might not know, and people don't know because people don't track these kinds of things anymore. They don't understand how, people don't even understand how easy actually it is to track, okay, because of this habit, if you will, of man, of making objects to remember people by. You know, and you're making an object to honor someone who taught you something and symbolize something that they taught you in that object many times, or a photo from a place and it brings back a memory, and then you call out to that person's soul in a way that loosens you from time for just a second, and you really feel what it's like to be with them again. And it's because of that that their soul gets pulled back into your life. Somehow, it will find a way. Unless you really pissed them off or something, you know? Unless you owe them money or, I don't know. You stole my weed. Okay, I don't know. Fucking my wife, something, I don't know. You keyed my car. I'm gonna go be Chinese now. I'm going to fucking Tasmania. Fuck you people. I want to be a wombat. Fucking Steve Hofstetter was just in Australia. You should go see him. Yeah. If he ever comes out there again. I think he's just wrapping up the tour. You should go see him if you get a chance. He's fucking funny as shit. I think one of the greater tragedies, as far as my artistic appreciation for the beauty of reality and the way it used to be, anyways, the Australian accent. It's it's fucking downright mystical to me. And I don't think it's just because of, you know, Maggie having been there when I was there and me associating that. It's this. It's almost as though that accent is the key to the culture that time forgot. It's like people are looking for Atlantis and they don't need to, almost. Now, as far as I know, skeptically, the most skeptical way I can view my memories and combine them with my studies and everything else, it could be that there was another continent near Australia before Australia was pushed out of the ocean. It could be that only parts of Australia are common with that continent now. But I don't think so. I think Australia is basically the ruins of the first Eden, not the Eden where man was, but the Eden where Lilith was. The Eden where man was north of India. When it was there, India was not. India was the Venusian plain, held up by a what I can only describe as a foul sea trinity of archangels. Like, programmed and powerful and interdimensional, but not quite sentient. Well, sentient, but not capable of free will. Like, not even as conscious as Data from Star Trek. It's agonizing that I couldn't exercise such a simple being. Like, I would think I would be able to turn them against her for having done to them exactly what she accuses me of doing to her, only worse. Sorry, like ripping my hair out thinking about this shit. Let it go, Sean. It was a long time ago. 12,888 years ago. 89. Give or take a few millennia. Bitches be tripping. I never drew men. It's funny. I drew one self-portrait that I took seriously at all. That looks like me back when I drew that self-portrait, only with my hair now. Okay? The self-portrait I drew back then looks like me now, only with my hair then. Like, I actually got the wrinkles in my face. I looked like an older version of myself back then. And I used to show people, hey, look, it's me when I'm fucking 40. I didn't mean for either of them to come out that way. But yeah, neither one of them that got the forehead were nearly big enough. Because, you know, who could freehand something and, like, be trying to draw a human being and actually stretch their memory and imagination enough to come up with this big mutant fucking shit I have going on up here? I mean, Jesus Christ. It's like a triceratops fucked a cantaloupe, okay? Like, I might actually be the man on the moon because I look just like it, you know? my head so big, the sketch artist that does them little cartoon images just said fuck it and took a picture. I think that's all I got. I'm gonna see if I got any more. See, that's one of them things my mom lost in Katrina. One, I think, from Astroworld, and one from a sketch artist in the French Quarter. The one from Astroworld, the Six Flags theme park in Houston, Texas. The one from Astroworld was a fake magazine cover that they like let you put on a costume and shit, and they like let you customize the caption, and it was Gung Ho Magazine, right? And I had like war paint and a beret and like a fucking big old M60 machine gun, like ammo, and like just bitching. Right, it was the coolest thing ever when I was that age, right? I was probably 7 or 8 years old. Oh, to be young again. Anyways. Then that's gone forever. And in the French Quarter, back when you could still carry around toy guns, back in the 80s, I'd be wearing all camouflage and a camouflage vest, and I had my fucking fluorescent orange nozzled, had like multiple fucking pieces on it that were fluorescent orange to make it look like a toy, so it was clear that it was a toy. But it was a big old take apart M60 fucking machine gun that had a shoulder strap and everything. So this French Quarter cartoonist artist guy painted me with one of them, like just black marker, quick, beautiful sketches. And had gotten my face and head proportion so perfect, like just spot on, right? Like them guys can, like the guy that did the Bill Clinton portrait, like, or John Lennon, like just somehow, like, it looks exactly like them. Well, this looks exactly like me. But it didn't look like he had to do much to make it a big head thing. And I didn't have a single uncle or cousin who did not point that out. Because that's what this guy did. He made the big head pictures. Little bitty body, big old head. And he did mine, little bitty body, big old head. And it still looked just fucking like me. Like somebody was giving steroids to a peanut. I don't know. And it grew legs and walked away. Come here, dingo. Benadryl got you fucked up, huh? Looking a little loopy there, dog. Looking a little skittish. You feel tired? Come here, time for some eye drops. Good boy. Good boy. All right, go on. All right. Oh, looks like Neville had to go back to work. Dingo. No, 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 no. Don't start licking your dick. Nobody wants to hear that shit. Hey, 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 hey. Psst. Dingo. Cut it out. Hush. You're silly. Yeah, you're silly. Oh, man. So anyways, not a peep about Hillary and the Muslims until Obama took office. Not a peep about the Muslims in general, but from Alex Jones. Until Obama took office. I mean, Hillary and Bill were basically mentioned as a side note. Just like, oh yeah, they're in the Illuminati too. But it was all about the Bush administration. It was all about the Benjamins, baby. All about taking the oil and shit like that. The military-industrial complex. Well, turns out Russia got more of the oil fields than Exxon or any of the American companies. Even China got more than the American companies. And the military-industrial complex is the name of an actual fucking building in Russia. It's almost as if Eisenhower wasn't a paranoid conspiracy theorist and was actually referring to something from intelligence data. Who'd have thunk it? Oh, that just hurts to have to say. Like, what might seem as profound insight to some people, to me, seems like I'm having to tell people that you don't tie your shoelaces with your dick. Like, here, now I'm going to teach you how to tie your shoelaces. Now, put your penis away. That doesn't have anything to do with this. Shoes. I know you get excited when you see socks, but CIA was behind the Taliban. Oh, never get over that one. Yep. CIA was giving them all them Russian tanks and shit. Because that's what the CIA does. The CIA is a Russian weapons dealer, haven't you heard? Because that's what you'd have to believe most of the shit that people do. The Baathists are using nothing but fucking Russian gear and disguised shit. You know, you'll find. And I have talked to plenty of guys who are on the ground out there. You'll find some shit made out of an old shell using a modern explosive and with a modern device for a detonator. And it's, you know, let me put it this way. I'm pretty good with electronics, right? Y'all know about how good I am with it. It would take me a bit of effort to rig up the shit that they use out there in Iraq. You know, like, if I wasn't trained on the shit, if somebody wasn't trained to know how to do this stuff, even if it naturally occurred to some of them, the likelihood of somebody being educated enough to understand that thing while still being stupid enough to be doing something like that is pretty low. Especially when it comes to, like, you know, not necessarily blowing themselves up, but being in cahoots with people who supposedly blow themselves up. I mean, it's always seemed more likely to me that rather than people who just want to die for a cause, you're more than likely having people who are being blackmailed. You know, you show me somebody who's willing to kill themselves, I'll show you somebody whose family is being held hostage. That's just the most likely thing that would cause someone to be willing to take their own life. What? You need food? Okay, hold on. You got food. What is your problem? You're right there. 1 second. And of course, I should have known that I wasn't going to go over there and wash some dishes. Or wash a dish. A really nasty dish. The cat's water bowl. That nobody else seems to ever feel the need to fucking wash. Without it making me have to pee really bad. So I'll be back. Okay. Every fucking pissed for me like fucking Jimmy Dugan from fucking All-American League. How you doing? Oh. Now I got a headache. What did I pee my brain out? The hell? Ow. Oh, I haven't eaten yet. When was the last time I ate? Fuck. Jeez. If it wasn't for hunger headaches, I'd probably just starve to death without even remembering. Like, oh yeah, I was... Well, I was gonna eat, but I was busy drawing something, or... I like just sitting with a sketch, just a blank piece of paper, and just going through the list of every product I know and every different task human beings do. Just trying to figure out, where is the unsolved need? Where is the one little thing that needs to be invented still, you know? And sometimes I'll get the fucking pencil going and just start doing some random shit before I even come up with something. I'll let like a blob or a couple of lines inspire me. Like, oh, that kind of looks like this. Oh, well, what if I made that? Hell, I think that's how the new cell phone thing came out. I think I was brainstorming on a logo design for something else. Anyway. Yep, the cell phone looks just like a logo. It's actually a set of Mickey Mouse ears. Never mind. Okay. So back to, let me not scroll down my damn news list on YouTube. Alex Jones and this whole right-wing news network and the Rupert Murdoch affiliates, the little AFP and Sky News and like the different little European ones and shit like that. And RT all expressing almost word for word identical views when it came to Russia's actions in Ukraine. Now, obviously Alex Jones has been on RT. Obviously RT is Russian state media. And one should be very questioning of any content, no matter how populist it sounds, which I wasn't sufficiently questioning enough back in 2001 and so on. Someone could see why Russia Today would be repeating the story that there were neo-Nazis in Kiev. Someone might even see why Alex Jones would point that out. Because, you know, they were Hillary Clinton Nazis, Obama Nazis. Yeah, because Obama's a big Nazi. Forgot about that. He's a black Jew, but he's a Nazi. Dad's Muslim, mother's Jewish. Nazi, naturally. Stop putting your shoelaces on with your dick. And while you're at it, you know, you might want to take your shoes out of your ass and stop trying to eat your own shirt and yeah. This is just how I imagine these people dressing themselves, like when they try to put their clothes on in the morning, and they're dumb enough to think that that's the right side to be on, the side that says these people, Hillary Clinton, John McCain, and Barack Obama, are in cahoots with neo-Nazis to take over Ukraine. And Merkel's really a Nazi, even though she's not even wanting to be, like, seen near the fucking German flag. Yeah. But they're also in cahoots with Muslims, and yeah. I picture someone believing in that side of things and being on the side of Russian trolls, okay? As basically, when they try to put their shoes on in the morning, first they shove them up their ass, both of them, both shoes up their ass, and then they tie them around their dick, just real tight, you know, because it's not like that's going to be any use to them throughout the day. And that way, as they have to piss throughout the day, they have to just, like, you know, eat the rest of their clothes. So, like, they wind up leaving the house basically having eaten a pair of pants and a t-shirt, okay? And they have underwear pulled over a pair of shoes shoved up their ass with laces tied around their dick, okay? And the reason why they have to eat their shirt and pants is because they're unable to piss or shit, so they gotta have something to absorb all that. because that's just the kind of person you'd have to be to believe that Hillary and Obama were supporting Nazis in Kiev, and that's the reason why Russia had to come save the day. You'd have to be one of those people that goes around and hacks into client porn servers, okay, because I happen to know someone who ran the website called Porn Sites for Sale back in the 90s. I know a little bit about how this works. And they basically go into these fucking people's picture archives and Photoshop dicks on all the best looking girls. And like they don't just choose anyone. Like they go for the best looking girl and the best pose, and that's the one that they put the dick on. And also, and this is from a different source, this is, well, that experience compiled with this little expose I saw on the subject. Additionally, they promote big black dick porn in an effort to increase white racism. Yeah. The blacks on blondes, that kind of thing. Yeah. That was actually featured. And I'm not claiming to not know about it from other ways, because, you know, I was a teenager on the internet. That's all I gotta say. Hell, I was a 20-year-old single man on the internet. Okay. Anyways. We're just gonna get off that subject. Oh, poor choice of words. Poor choice of but You can see my hands. You can see my hands. Speaking of better things in life than porn, apparently Natalie Portman is on The Tonight Show with Jimmy Fallon. I was actually thinking of like a porn era reformist sort of website when I was listening to the radio. There was, I think it was an eHarmony commercial, and they were talking about their algorithm and blah blah blah. And I was just thinking about, like, how great would it be to have a site that focused on making people into marriage material? Like, not just a site that was like oriented on come here to find your future spouse, but actually was able to determine whether or not you were just lonely or whatever, and didn't make like an overt judgment about this. You know, we wouldn't advertisement. You wouldn't advertise it this way. But kind of like a psychological questionnaire that would determine whether or not someone really had it in them or really was ready, and then actually help them get there. And I actually think you could get some possible like cooperation with movie and television providing streaming services, because there's a lot of lessons that can be uh, you know, used as preface and then review of different movies. And you can like teach somebody something and then make them watch a movie about it where they think about it and actually have like a reference to it. And then one day they might be able to talk to a girl about that movie. Or a guy. I mean, it works two ways. But there's certainly a lot more movies that are obvious, that cater to the needs of women in a relationship. Um, but men are, you know, portrayed on TV and movies as having no needs and being usually emotionless and like, unless they have to have emotions to need revenge for, you know? I know who you are, and I will find you. Quickly now, quickly. But let's see. The first one that comes to mind as an inverse chick flick is The Eternal Sunshine of a Spotless Mind. But then that works either way. In fact, any guy like me who likes to date crazy bitches, if you are if you may in fact find yourself in a relationship with an crazy bitch at the moment, or even a possible crazy bitch, I recommend the two of you watch that movie together. Anyways, so yeah. Most of the dating websites, while infiltrated by Russians, they were American and European in origin. Um, and really, the Russian bride infiltration, shit like that, was, as far as I could tell, pretty minimal and pretty obvious when you found it. You didn't realize it was what it, in retrospect most likely was, but it was pretty obvious when a fake profile was a fake profile. Last time I was on, probably in 2004. So yeah, a hot minute ago. That's when I met that girl I wound up moving in with. That was Match.com. But porn sites, oh man. The Americans just couldn't fucking compete with the Russians. There is a lot of Russian porn out there. A lot of Russian porn. And let me just put it this way. Any industry that Russia finds itself competitive in, it will be competitive in. So consider what that means to Russians. Hell yes, they were hacking American fucking porn servers and fucking up their images. Hell yes, they were promoting, the wrong kind of viewership, basically. False ratings, you know? Make an American porn company, make multiple American porn companies think people were into weird shit by the use of false ratings, false positives, you know? And then corner the market. I'm sorry if this is an uncomfortable subject, but it's shit that's really happening. And it's got a lot to do with a lot of really fucked up power that these people wield. Or we could talk about how Intelligent Implants co-founder is a millennial game changer. Or let's talk about Leonard Cohen some more, or Michael Cohen, excuse me. Don Lemon, Cohen on that news story. Oh, and so some waitress got a $500 tip. Oh, that's news. Yeah. Let's not talk about what has essentially become a kidnapping and child enslavement ring. Whereas, there was at least an attempt to enforce and regulate age requirements in this country. Yeah. When it comes to Russia, there's a bit of a problem. And then that brings me back to Google. There's not much that can go on the internet these days without Google knowing about it. And it's not hard for Google to recognize the difference between an adult and a child. It's certainly not hard for them to recognize keywords. Especially when it comes to keywords that they recommend. That's all I have to say about that. But I have seen some interesting shit over the years come up as recommendations. As if those, those censorship algorithms that Yahoo Mail had in the 90s that could, filter certain words and phrases had not been applied to the suggested search results process. There's some genuinely fucked up shit out there. And it ain't just Jared from Subway, man. People like that wouldn't be able to proliferate without basically a level of help that was as powerful as a given government. I don't think the American people should stand for it. I don't think the Russian people should stand for it. But anyways, my friend, by the way, hasn't been in that business for a damn hot minute either. Uh, I mean, I used to fucking work in a strip club. This is like living in New Orleans. It's, I guess, different cultural expectations. But, people down there are like, ooh, private parts. But, we have sayings like 15 will get you 20, People don't. I guess because they're not sexually repressed, it never seemed like that much of a damn problem. There's always the girls that go out wearing too much makeup and shit, but you didn't see like the kidnappings, just girls going missing off the fucking side of the street just every few weeks like you do now. And my theory is this: with all the other connections to all the other different types of crime, and with what goes on at those Trump towers and modeling conventions and fucking even European teen beauty pageants and shit, for Google to have taken over so much of searchability in general at the same time as all this other shit is rising, while they fail to do the right thing at every turn, can't be a coincidence. It's almost as though they've been purposely enabling all of these different things, whether it be just general depravity, the the objectification of children. Tasting blood all of a sudden. What is it? Fentanyl, heroin. The rumor that the CIA spread crack cocaine into the ghettos. Well, it wasn't the CIA, but I can bet you'll guess who I'll tell you it was. I'll just trace it through who a communist fucking cartel is, where they get their weapons from. It all goes back to Russia. And if they can find a business opportunity and steer it in the right direction towards our destruction, why wouldn't they? And of course, all the while, it's supposed to be the CIA in cahoots with the Taliban, and that's why there's heroin. Because, you know, the CIA created the Taliban, right? Basic shit. You know, I've been with, I've had brief friendships with just about every different type of fucking criminal there is, man. And that's how I know them when I see them. I even delved into Wiccanism and all that shit just to learn more about those people. I can get very curious without surrendering my faith and my principles. But, yeah, I'm not going to sit here and act like I'm some fucking saint. Because the very idea of a saint is a myth. Like, I remember turning, like, 17 years old, and already wondering what the hell some guys were doing. Older than me, dating chicks younger than me. I think I dated a 14-year-old when I was 17, when I just turned 17. And that bitch made me see a fucking Spice Girls movie. So that was a wrap on that. Fucking, now I'm older. I got a younger wife, but that's different. She's almost fucking 30. When we got married. Something's like twisted on the fucking inside of these people, man. Like, they have to, like, consciously hate God to be that fucking depraved. Not just subconsciously. Like, they have to just really have a fucking active loathing for other people, for all of creation, for nature, for their brethren. And they use that to justify their mission to take. Take. Take money, take land, take resources, take people. And that just brings me back to the point I made, was it yesterday? People need a fucking productive hobby of some sort. Like, if the Russians just wanted to make porn, like, wholesome, good, honest, fucking, like, adults fucking adults, you know? Let ugly, lonely, crippled people fucking come too. That's all I'm saying. Like, I'm sorry, if somebody wants to film themselves fucking and sell it for money, if they're a responsible adult, they should be able to fucking do that. There's nothing wrong with that, in my opinion. That would be okay if that wanted to be the, like, their when the world goes green, like, they used to make oil and natural gas, and now they're just like the porn capital. That'd be fine, you know? Go to Russia, where the nipples are always hard. But see, like, if they would just focus on something productive and not have to use everything that they know how to do for some misguided concept of revenge. I don't think I don't think they'd be so depraved in their desperation to be, competitive. So, when I think of the results of sexual repression, the type of male ego, usually a male ego, that gets twisted into thinking their needs are somehow justified and they should have power over somebody else. I think of people who look and act like Alex Jones. You know, just like desk beating, fucking like repressed, like my penis is too small for me to bear kind of people. Just the character fits, you know? Other than that, it's just amoral, uneducated mongrels who fucking should have gone to church more. Not like Catholic church, but I kid. Generally speaking, going to a Catholic church would be a hell of a lot better as far as turning someone into not a rapist. But anyways. Let's just say there's plenty of ways to have bad things happen to you that don't involve the Catholic Church. And the statistical likelihood doesn't increase with the Catholic Church any more than like Walmart or fucking the Boy Scouts or, you know, pick a fucking organization. Certainly not an organization like the Russian military. Oh yeah. I've seen reports that butt rape abounds in the Russian military. For some reason, I feel like writing a song about that. About Russian butt rape soldiers becoming Russian butt hurt internet trolls. You would everybody's bitch in basic. Now you will sit at the keyboard. Anyways, what was the topic of this video? Russian butt rape. I laughed out loud when I saw that little report on the different types of porn different countries most frequently search. And Russia's was anal. I think Spain was like old lady porn, which is hilarious, but Russian was anal. Like, look, it's Sodom and Gomorrah. The timing couldn't have been better. Apparently somebody's like was removed. Well, I know my viewer's better than that. I bet you I have some more negative likes on the secret little whatever the fuck rating system. That's canceled out whatever like was left. Because you see, my people know. I'm a hornball and I'm proud of it. I just, like women with tits and curves and usually jobs. Some sort of impressive skill set. Like the typical Victoria's Secret model, pretty dumbass, doesn't really do it for me. I like intelligent, borderline sinister women. But I like women, yeah. You put some boobs in my face and I'm a happy guy, just... And if it wasn't for that, the human race wouldn't be so diverse. Plain and simple. And just hypothetically, say you're somebody who doesn't believe me. If God didn't like women sexually, like if God doesn't have sex in mind when he separated the female form from the male form, first of all, why is there biological reproduction? And second of all, why are there so many damn different ways women can be beautiful? Blondes, brunettes, Asians, Africans. And don't forget the Latin girls. Oh, the Latin girls. I don't think you've seen what women can do until you've seen like a traditional Guatemalan dance from like, appropriately dressed, really curvy Guatemalan girls. It's the odd subject. I shouldn't use the word girls, but I don't like the word women because it's fucking sexist. Whoa, men. Well, really? It's men and whoa, men. No. My headache's keeping me from speaking properly. My headache is keeping me from remembering. My headache is keeping me from remembering the word. Ugh. Guyano and Guyana, Guyanos and Guyanas. But that's only like 2,000 years ago. That was like Caesar's days in Gaul. There was another word, an original word, that dated back to the time of Genesis that I'd remembered. And that I can't remember. Should be on another video, though. Anyways, 193 minutes. Well, so after I started the hashtag resistance, the first people to troll me on that subject, you know who it was? Alex Jones. Oh, that was funny as shit. Alex Jones is going to come out. While supporting Trump. You are the resistance. Immediately after, I start doing sign-offs like I'm fucking John Connor. Now see, I was doing it because our nation was being overrun psychologically by a foreign power. And you know, when the enemy invades and you're resisting them, you're the fucking resistance. And then I got on Twitter for the first time ever, because Twitter's for twits. I understand the mind of a Satanist, okay? And the first time I saw Twitter, my reaction as someone who is always mindful of the plans of Satanists and how they seek to degrade society, it was simple for me to fathom, okay, here we have another edition of Satanism from wherever this is coming from. At the time, I thought, you know, Bilderbergers, Illuminati, Freemasons, that kind of shit. But I was still, you know, using my nose, right? I didn't see the Russian propaganda surrounding me as Russian propaganda. I thought I was a truther, you know? But there had been plenty of websites made just to, I don't know, make it easier to be a moron, you know? And if I was some rich asshole who wanted to basically see if people had no intellectual standards for themselves, Twitter would be the perfect fucking social media platform. Especially at a time when, you know, an overzealous marketing scheme enhanced by Google, who was already complicit with the agenda of Satanism or whatever was going on, had made it seem like, you know, Twitter was just one of the standard places you had to be. Twit. Twitter. To twit. To be a twit. And you know, if I got to be Shakespearean about it, to be a twit or not to be a twit, I'll not be a twit. But I knew from the get-go, Twitter would be no good for America. Like, nothing good can come from this. And oh, was I ever right. Because now we have President Twit. And really, what fucking better word to describe him? Especially, like, from Putin's perspective. We need a social media platform that our future candidate from office can dominate. Who, the twit? Yeah. Trump. You see, you have to go on the assumption that these people know what the hell they're doing. They knew what they were doing. And we didn't only not know what we were doing. We didn't only not know what they were doing. We didn't even know that they were up to anything. We thought they were our allies in the war on terrorism. As opposed to being behind it the whole time. And thus they were allowed to completely shepherd our society by sending in wolves in sheep's clothing and making sure that any blind shepherds could very effectively have their message out and lead as many people as possible off of as many cliffs as possible. So then when I got on Twitter, first I made the Lost Begotten profile. Then immediately after, I started to see these Star Trek Resistance people showing up out of the fucking woodwork. Just a new one every day. And they had very bot-like tendencies, but seemed more like people that were paid to be on there. Just always on there. You know, I was doing a little binge, so I was on there frequently for a couple weeks. How's it going, Conway? So far we've had one troll leave because I was talking about how Russia kidnaps children and promotes child porn with Google's help, and other things like that. And that seemed to make someone not want to watch anymore. And then I talked about uh, how if I was, either at the time when I considered it a Bilderberger fucking rich evil person or a Russian oligarch who was basically a KGB spy, and I wanted to create a website that could just, you know, I'm going to make it purposely dominate, through coercive tactics, right? We're trying to take down AOL and Yahoo and all that shit and get people consolidated into our platforms, Google, Facebook, Twitter. This is before Twitter was imagined, okay? We've already got Facebook. I just picture it going down like this. We need a website, a new social media platform for Donald Trump to dominate. And somebody went, who? And then they said, the twit. And they're like, oh, that's perfect. Twitter. Because at the time, I'm sure most Russians, and probably still today, most Russians perceive Americans as twits. I tend to agree with them, for the most part. And that's why Twitter is such a popular platform, because of all the fucking twits. But apparently the idea that that could possibly be a Russian plan was enough to get somebody to stop fuming. Yeah. And then, of course, somebody earlier tuned me out as soon as I said that Gabriel the Archangel could be appearing as a UFO and could have been the only would be. And I was only speaking in possible terms, because I don't think this is what happened. But it could possibly be that Gabriel the Archangel, or what I have on videotape as Archangel UFO Gabriel New Orleans back in 2011, was the source of the holographic plane that hit the buildings, right? Because he could have hit both, because he's Gabriel. But they logged off before I could mention that in the middle of Astana, Kazakhstan, they have basically a shrine that can be seen from space to this same orb thing pictured within the mouth of what is clearly Olmec. And in addition to my video, there are multiple ufologists who have filmed this exact UFO in the New Orleans area, the three orbs flying together, sideways, back and forth, like scanning, panning, okay? So this is a known UFO phenomena filmed by most people as three orbs in the New Orleans area, and it came to me hovering over the roofs across the street, and both times, after sitting there for quite some time, just hovering there, when I start filming, it slowly comes forward, grows its other two orbs, and then turns into a plane while sounding like a bird and a train. And I remember filming at the time, there was no train passing anywhere nearby. There were train tracks nearby, but there was no train passing at that time. And if you listen to the audio on that clip, it's just fucking bizarre. That's unedited, you know? No. No, it's an amber orb, and then a red orb, and a blue orb. Amber, red, blue. Like, right next to each other, kind of attached looking. The three orangish, not amber. Like amber would be a little more yellow than what you're talking about. That I've never seen in person. But there are experimental aircraft that could explain those sightings. One thing I have seen that I'm pretty sure isn't Gabriel, but is a different similar being. Is this thing that I call Santa's sleigh. And I call it the Santa's sleigh UFO because I think the first time we saw it was around Christmas. And it is two orangish orbs side by side, and they have kind of like an energy that goes between them when they flash. And they'll accelerate and slow down in ways that a plane couldn't. But otherwise, mostly seem to try to mimic a plane as they fly, or it flies. Oh. But anyways, but like I said earlier, my most likely theory as far as what hit the buildings, if not simply hijacked airliners and video artifacting, what's causing the lack of windows on the planes. That still to me doesn't explain the eyewitness disparity of some people saying that it was, some people saying that it wasn't. That was definitely not an American Airlines plane. That woman sounded pretty certain that she saw a lack of insignia, you know. But they had those NASA experimental unmanned passenger plane-sized craft. They could have been hacked into. And the aeronautical advancements of the Russian Federation subsequent to this is consistent with them having gained such a plethora of information. If they were to hack that system before NASA was able to deploy it and then hijack it and slam those planes into the buildings, it wouldn't have just been that as a consequence. They would have been able to download, they would have had to, in order to control those planes, they would have had to download that navigational computing data, and that would have easily helped them advance their aeronautics and electronic warfare capabilities, which is kind of the result that we saw throughout the mid and late 2000s, up until recently, when, you know, now they've got all kinds of fancy toys. But, who knows? Gabriel having been enslaved by them, by Mars, because of his sort of heartbroken attachment to Hathor, was basically forced to be Mars's stepdad, kind of, and would have helped in a situation like that. And in fact, it could have been that one little theory about the Pentagon containing some sort of Leviathan being, and the cruise missile releasing it. But then again, that would imply that happened before anybody was told that it happened, because then that would have had to happen first, I suppose. Because Gabriel in that form wouldn't time travel, I don't think. He shouldn't be able to. I don't remember if the Pentagon was attacked first. Anyways, I'm getting fucking hungry. I might have to go ahead and end this broadcast, but I wanted to finish what the whole resistance thing was. Because, okay, so first Alex Jones is like sitting there just trolling me with this bullshit, okay? After all the other fucking crap they've stolen from me, and fucking steal the resistance thing from me. And now, just the same way Antifa exists to piss off the Republicans, they have turned the resistance into something that is kind of meant to make the Democratic Party go lukewarm, but to also make the Democratic Party seem like nothing but people who want migration to happen and just like white people to end, you know? They want to herd that label into a corner instead of people being able to see that, no, this is conservatives and liberals and anyone who's loyal to this country still, basically. That's what the hashtag resistance is for. Oh yeah, I know what you're talking about. And yeah, I'm pretty sure that is an aircraft. That, in retrospect, you know, I used to be like, who the fuck had that? Could Area 51 have developed that? No. That's a perfect example of what I was talking about as far as the possibilities of what they've been doing for the past God knows how long. Because, you know, they'll never declare a war with the advanced shit. And they've gone throughout history and destroyed entire civilizations and taken their technology and deleted it from the knowledge of the rest of us. So one can only fucking speculate as to what kind of technology they're actually hiding up there in those fucking mountains and plateaus. Huh. But they want you to think all the aliens are at Area 51. So what does that tell you? They're the ones behind the shit. Alright, one more cigarette and I'm calling it a broadcast. Because I'm getting fucking hungry. So now we've come full circle And you've got Republicans sitting there in the congressional hearing with the Google CEO talking about how the resistance, how could you dare let the resistance trend when it's just an anti-Trump movement? And I immediately wanted to drive to his office and punch someone in the face. It's like, nope, I don't have the gas money for that bullshit. It's like, oh, you work for him? Can I see him? Tell me no, motherfucker. Tell me no. Because you'll get the message to deliver to him. Oh, it's an old white lady. Oh, okay. Call security. Excuse me, I'd like to speak with someone I can punch. The resistance is about loyalty to this country, you fucking traitors. And that's why Google suppresses me, because I know that. You know? They're complicit in something, all right, but it ain't that. Those Republicans were just fucking pawns for Russia's scheme. Just probably every single one of them was in cooperation with these fucking Russian trolls to get elected. They're all hiding something, so they're all hiding something. And speaking in lockstep, saying Google is suppressing right-wing, Google is suppressing conservatives. You're not conservatives, you're Trumpists. If you were conservatives, you'd be talking about Russia. Fuck's sake. Anyways. So that's all I have to say about that. The fucking resistance is not a liberal movement. It is a patriotic movement. It was hijacked by Russian trolls trying to herd it into a left-leaning corner, the same way Russian trolls went from blanketly supporting Trump to opposing him to cover the asses of the Republican traitors. Let's give them something to talk about, so that they look innocent and we look like we don't favor them too specifically. But that's only the surface. And, you know, one of the reasons why Google continues to suppress me is because I continue to make accurate and predictive analysis of what's to come. What the Republicans don't know is that the Russians will continue to support the far left and cause another wave of their advancement in order to instigate a civil war. So the Republicans have two choices, or three choices. One is they can come clean. The other is they can acquiesce and basically let California Democrats take over everything. And the other is civil war. Well, it was a Russian scientist, man. Talking about insects that levitate. I don't know about anti-gravity technology. It's just... dirigibles and plasma thrusters and... anti-gravity. Bah. Okay, that's all I can say about anti-gravity. Um, Magnetic resonant levitation? Yeah. Something that looks like the drawing that I came up with, only bigger, older. Yeah, probably. But not like the anti-gravity shit that we've been presented with the whole superconductive shit and fluid and whatever. That's all based off of kind of speculation on a whole different scientific principle that is a key to discovering the magnetic resonance properties, but they were fitting that theory to the design of a saucer-shaped aircraft because Russian propagandists had found the American engineers' attempt at patenting a saucer-shaped aircraft and used them to incite anti-government hysteria that our government was, secretly hiding a UFO and trying to base secret military designs off of it. But there was actually a guy who invented this shit and he tried to patent it. He tried to get Ford to make it, okay? It was like the first flying car. That's all it was. And he had big ones, small ones, personal ones, cargo, passengers. Like, he had a whole different slew of these designs, and they were beautiful, intricate, detailed designs. Better than the shit that I do by far. And that all got, his patent applications got used as some sort of government conspiracy proof. But, that's what happens on most of the places that YouTube and Google prefer you to be watching. Funny how that works. As for me and my audience, we will know the truth. Thanks for watching. Thanks for saying hello and chatting, Mr. Conway. And to whoever those people were who didn't feel like hearing me finish my points before they just shunned me. I hope you find a way to earn the mercy that your soul needs. Anyway, take it easy, don't take it all. Don't forget to click the like button and stuff and subscribe and the button pops later. Button.